What's going on, everybody? So today we're going to be interviewing Steve Sutton at Scale Model Kit Review is the YouTube channel name. So it's going to be me and Steve. We're going to be talking about the Eagle Moss kits and, his YouTube channel. Probably talk about how me and him met. Keep it interesting, find out what, makes Steve do what he does, right? But anyway, here's Steve. How's it going, Steve?
Hi, everybody. How you doing, Josh?
So, talk about the YouTube channel. Let's start there.
Well, I started up the YouTube channel kind of as a hobby. My job, previously I did a lot of traveling, and it was just something to do while I'm on the road and out of town, something to occupy my time. And what I would do with that, I would film everything at home, bring it with me, edit the videos on the road, and then post them up. And it did just that. It kept me busy, and it didn't evolve as a Eagle Moss channel at first. It was just scale modeling, all types, figures, boats, cars, tanks, all that and the like. And that's how it started.
So what's your favorite thing to build then? Because you've done reviews on a lot of different stuff.
Yeah. So my favorite thing to build are cars, and I haven't had a chance to do a whole lot of those as far as scale models, the plastic kits, and of course that's evolved now into these bigger cars, the 1/8 scale Eagle Moss and Agora models, the cars, and I have a love for that, and my mechanical background in the Air Force kind of helps me along with those bigger cars. Also keeps my hands nimble. The older I get, I beginning to feel, the joints stiffen up and all that as you get older, and you're like, damn.
You mean you still got joints in your hands?
Huh?
I don't.
It's really arthritis is beginning to set in. I can feel it now, but hopefully, just by doing this is going to keep things moving again. But yeah, I like building cars, but I do have a love of armor and airplanes, being that airplanes are my background in the Air Force. So.
No, I mean, it's really cool when you, when I first started watching your channel, you do a jet, you kind of change it up, and you have a pretty big stash too.
Yeah.
So it kind of helps with that. But for the most part, I mean, and you're really into figures too, not like the resin stuff that you see on some of the channels now, but this stuff, these kind of figures.
Oh yeah.
I mean, these are really cool, and luckily I found this on a good price. But
yeah, those old NPC Star Wars kits are great to collect, and I try to post up a good little review video on what you're actually going to get in the box. And yeah, the quality isn't as good as the Bandai, but that's all we had back in the day when Star Wars first came out. NPC answered a call and started coming out with Star Wars kits, and that's all we had. And I thought they were great.
At some point I'm going to tear into those, but that's they've just entered the stash, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I have a lot in my stash, so every one of them I put in the stash, I say to myself, I'm going to build it, but that hasn't happened.
You kind of, it's kind of that catch-22. You got to have stuff to work on, and then you got to have stuff to work on while that's drying.
Yeah, the drying part is what gets you, right? You're sitting there like, oh, hurry up, so I can go to the next step, or I can I can go ahead and throw some paint on it or whatever. But yeah, I hope that I I do have a lot of resin figure kits too. I do have a lot of one of kind. I have a few that are very highly collectible that were sculpted from a very good artist out of Spain, and you just won't find those on the shelf anywhere. And they're packed away and kept safe. Someday I'll do a review of a few of them, but and then of course now the modern uh, resin kits, all the 3D printed ones and all that. Those are just unbelievable. You know what you find out there now, but they're like a dime a dozen. You can find a lot of them normally if you go to eBay and see all these Chinese companies selling them, which I don't want to buy from China right now just because of what's going on in the world. Um, I've been ripped off by some Chinese sellers, and I just don't want to take that chance anymore. So I stick with U.S. sellers for now.
And that's probably a good tip, because a lot of those are recasters coming out of like China, Russia. I think India is now the new little hot spot I've heard.
Yeah, yeah, they're probably stealing the 3D files and saying that they're theirs and they're not. So that's the thing too. They're not really. You can't really say it's recasters, but they're because 3D printing is not actually casting. But yeah, it used to be the case though. You would buy a really cool figure kit and it comes out of China and it's a recast. That's the way it used to be. Now, if I go online now and I look at the figure kits from China, they're all 3D printed. So are they paying the artist of that, who made that STL file, or is it something that they found in the black market? And it's hard to say. With China, you don't even know if you're going to get that product that they advertise. When it shows up, it could be completely something different. So
Yeah, for sure. Now, how do you like the current like resin stuff compared to some of the older sculpts?
yeah, it's very highly detailed, and actually, it's probably the resin is a little easier to work with. It's not like a casted piece where it's solid, or you know that type of resin is a little harder to work with. A little more sanding, a little more care with that type of resin. With this newer stuff, it just seems like it's easier to work with. So
Because I don't have any of the older resin, but the newer stuff, it seems like it's really like you don't have to do as much to it either.
right, and that's the thing too. Between the resin 3D printed and the casted resin, there's limits to that on what they can produce and what you can cast and what you can pull apart with the detail and all that. Whereas the 3D printing, there's limits there too, but it's a different type of limitation, and the detail is just so much more with the 3D printed stuff compared to the casted stuff. Because you could actually take a 3D printed figure and go ahead and make a casting for it, but you're going to have difficulty separating that cast because the 3D printed figure is probably so much more detailed. There's no way you could separate it and get what you're getting with if you were pouring the resin into the pouring uh, area. It just the there's no way. A lot of people say it can be done, but you're not going to have the detail.
Well, and then you're going to have that unexpected mold line too that you're going to have to figure out how to deal with.
Yeah.
Which makes it a challenge, because then, but people do what they want to do, right?
Right. But it is what it is. I like the newer technology now, and there's still the old school resin casted stuff out there. I used to belong to a website that all the artists were on there, and they usually sold their kits. And for a pretty penny, you were paying between $200-$300 per figure when you bought them. And but you knew you were buying from the artists themselves. They took the time to sculpt it,
Yeah.
sculpt it by hand, and cast it, and that's what you're paying for. Whereas now it's all 3D rendered and it's all done by a machine. So there's a lot of work to that, though. It's not that easy. The 3D rendering is not that easy. When you talk to people that actually produce those 3D kits, there's a lot of steps involved and a lot of work involved, so that they put out a good product. And as we know, Mike over at NY3D, NY3D, puts a lot of work into his products that go out.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's a side hustle, it's pretty much a full-time job on the side. I mean, it's not just something you can, I wish it was that easy, because I'd be doing it too, but it's not as easy as everybody makes it out to be.
Yeah, there's an artist that I bought some kits from out of Thailand, and he does a lot of your alien, the alien type figures, and he just come out with a new kit. It's probably almost 3 foot tall.
Whoa! And
I'm tempted to buy it from him, but that's resin casted, and it's all his sculpting and all that. He does an awesome job. I think I I shared a link of his work on my Facebook page for the Scale Model Kit review. So if you're on my Facebook group, you'll more than likely you probably saw it there.
And since you brought up the Facebook group, you actually have a couple of different Facebook groups, and they're all different or unique. They're not the same, which is really cool, because you have the Scale SMKR,
right?
And then you have this. Is it spaceship create models, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I created a Star Wars group, a Battlestar Galactica group, of course the spaceship modeling group. What is the other? I have a bunch. It's hard to keep up. I actually had to, get some people to help me moderate them, because it's just hard to keep up with it.
Yeah. And there's sometimes, like, I'll go into a page and it'll be like, oh, Steve's the moderator of this. That's cool. I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, what kind of got me going on that was initially when I first joined on to Facebook years ago, I was discovering all these scale modeling groups, and one of them was a Star Wars group. And I tried to join it, and they were like, are you actively building? If you're not actively building, you're not going to belong to this group. And I was like, what? I want inspiration. I want to see what people are doing. I want, that's how most modelers are. They want to be inspired. They want to see what other people are doing. And that kind of got me going to create my own groups. That's not going to exclude people just because they're not building,
So Brett at High Altitude Scale Modeling says you have the Airfoil Hellcat group. What is that?
Oh, it's the Airfix. Yeah.
Oh, Airfix.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when they first came out with that really nice Hellcat, Airfix did 130, 124 scale, I believe, and there was no groups, so I went ahead and created a group real quick, and it got pretty popular. But that's just one of many groups that I have. I probably have over a dozen.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that. I only know like 5.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Well,
I've created groups for the Eagle Moss kits that I'm building too, so people can go there. I can share information with people, especially the DB5. There's a lot going on with that build, and it's not as easy as people think it is. It's probably not your starter car for Eagle Moss, but it was a way for me to share information with people to help them along with building that car.
So sticking with Facebook for a second, how do you like being a moderator on some of these Facebook pages? Is it getting it's still like a great hobby, or is it getting kind of toxic? Because Facebook is kind of changing, and not in a good way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't particularly like how Facebook is, but I do like the scale modeling part of it. I do like the modeling groups and some of the historical groups too that I kind of follow and I belong to. So that I like. And really with my groups that I have, they're really easy as far because they pretty much run themselves. And normally I'll ask somebody who's real active in the group if they want to moderate, which I appreciate. A lot of them say, yeah, no problem. Because the big thing that we have to moderate is every now and again you might have a spat between some people, or the big thing is the spam, the people posting T-shirt links and trying to sell stuff in your group. And I don't want nobody selling stuff in my groups, not without my permission. So it's kind of complicated when you let people start selling. So,
yeah, that seems to be the common rule with all groups, though. It's not, So I
yeah,
mean, I mean, if you're in one group, you're pretty much that's the rule.
yeah. But they keep trying. But yeah, it's kind of hard to keep up with though, because I do have to review and look. Okay, well, somebody's reporting this or somebody's reporting that. And sometimes somebody has a good reason for calling somebody else out, whatever. Little spats here and there, but it's pretty easy. Besides that,
Well, I mean, that's really cool that it's but you look at some of these pages for what we do, and it's just crazy, kind of how toxic it can turn like real quick, and then if you're not on top of it, it's like, oh, what the heck happened?
yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of groups I belong to that are kind of toxic anyways, and I don't participate in those groups too much, but I like to see what's going on and
Yeah.
what the issues are, because there's different personalities out there in our hobby. There's people who like to show what they do, show their talents, but also it's just very interesting. There's a side of Facebook I didn't know existed when I first joined and started getting to the groups and even with YouTube. There's a lot of my friends like Brian Cox over at Brian, his YouTube channel. He was probably one of the first channels I followed. And come to find out, he's from my hometown. We went to the same high school. He's just a lot younger than me, and that's following him and seeing his videos and seeing what he was putting out there and who some of his followers were. Then I started following them, and that's how I got hooked into Gil with the Red Dragon Model Works and the Styrene Syndicate, and then I also everybody who is a part of those is just amazing. So
yeah, I mean, the groups is basically kind of what I've just been doing now, because and just posting lots of car stuff. That's kind of what I've been doing on Facebook lately. But
yeah, I like the car stuff too. I really enjoy seeing your car stuff. It's really good.
Because it's not, yeah, like I said, it's just something other than what the, breaking up the political thing, right?
Yeah. I stopped the political stuff because you're not going to win. So
yeah, for real. But anyway, so let's get into the Eagle Moss stuff. And you were saying there's 2 different companies doing those kind of kits, and what are they?
Yeah, well, there's 2 big companies doing kits, and there's some other companies, some offshoots out there that are mostly a lot of them are available in Europe, but they're slowly coming across the pond and making it available to us. So I would say Eagle Moss was the first to come to the U.S. And ship directly from the U.S. to you. I think they have a warehouse in Indiana, and so they're an English company, and they're not the first, but they're a big company as far as their diecast club, and they have lots of choices for the 1/8 scale cars to build. The offshoot of them is a guy that was actually he was part of Eagle Moss, and then he left them and he started up his own company, and that's Agora Models. And Agora also has done the same thing as Eagle Moss. As they actually opened up I think a warehouse down in Florida, I believe, and they're shipping from Florida to American subscribers, and they have cars. Plus, they have the T800 Terminator, which I'm building. And those are the two big companies, and they reached out to me and said, "Hey, you want to build for us?" And not a problem. That's how I kind of got hooked in with them. But there's some other companies out there. There's what Model Space, and they first came out with the Millennium Falcon, the big Millennium Falcon,
Oh,
and the R2D2. But I don't know what's going on with Model Space right now. I have bought two kits from them. I have the Millennium Falcon. I started building it on my channel, but I haven't. I put it away. And the R2D2, I'm currently building that on my channel too. I brought that with me. It's here with me. I just haven't had a chance to get to it. But I don't know what's going on with them, because I tried to order some binders and they're taking my money, but they're not sending anything. So
oops.
yeah, and they're not answering emails. So I need to find out, why I'm not getting my product from them. And they're still advertising though. That's what I find is kind of odd.
So on the Eagle Moss stuff, let's talk about you've been doing the Ghostbuster car, right? Which one did you just finish? You just finished one of them, right?
Well, I haven't finished one yet. I'm getting ready. The Aston Martin DB5, the James Bond.
Okay, so let's talk about that kit for a second.
Okay.
So when you order the kit, you hit order, then go from there. Because this is where I think people kind of misinterpret what this company does.
Okay, so it's a subscription service, and obviously well, just give you a little background on how they worked in Europe. In Europe still they still have, especially in England, they still have newsstands. Like you walk downtown to do your grocery shopping, because a lot of people don't drive. They'll drive, but they'll park somewhere and then they walk around to do all their shopping. As you're walking, you'll cross a newsstand, and then the newsstand, they have these magazines in plastic bags, and inside the plastic bag are parts of cars. So you don't even have to subscribe. You can just go to the newsstand and get your parts every week. Every week they come out with a new magazine and a new part. Well, obviously we don't have that in the US. It'd be very hard to do. We have Barnes and Noble and places like that, but so they make it a subscription, a magazine subscription. So when you sign up for a magazine subscription, you're just signing up for a weekly magazine, but you're only going to be charged once a month. So when you're charged once a month, it's 4 issues, right? Because there's normally 4 weeks a month, and it's a set fee plus whatever shipping and handling. Now, when you sign up for the first issue, that's normally they want to get you. It's a sale, like $1.99 for these first 2 issues, and with free shipping. But after that, then they charge you for the shipping, and they charge you per month for the kits.
And then it's probably what, 15 for the parts, and then probably 15 for the shipping, right?
Yeah, the shipping, the shipping's usually about $12, $12, $13, $14, like you said, about 15. And then the parts, it depends how many parts you get, because it used to be just you'd get four issues a month. But Agora kind of changed up with that, because you order a pack and you might get 8 issues or 9 issues per month. So it's a little more. So it could be like $40 for a pack.
Okay, so you've gotten the first couple of issues. Now, I'm kind of hoping the instructions are in the first issue. But so you basically, you're getting, what is it, one part, or are you getting several parts, or is it like a sprue?
Yeah, you're getting a bag with parts. So there may be 1 part, or there may be 10 parts in a bag. And then you may get 4 bags with parts. So we call it a parts pack. So you'll get 4 parts pack. In that pack can vary between 1 part to 10 parts, and all the screws and the magazine to go along with it. So I mean, I should have brought one with me to show you, but I don't have any of that stuff with me in my
and
little
and
man cave here.
and this is the cool thing about Steve's channel. He goes through and explains each step. Like when you put in the I think it was the taillights on the Jeep, like you actually show how you connected all the wires and the little I call it the fuse box, but I don't think that's what it was for the part, but like you showed how to hook all that stuff up. So Steve's got a really good channel if you want to go check out some of the kits.
Yeah, that was my goal, was to give you close-ups to
Yeah.
show you how things go together, because sometimes it's not all that clear in the instructions, and sometimes the instructions are wrong. And so I'll run across that while I'm filming, and I might have to like stop filming and then start over again, because I'm like, well, that's not right. That's not going to work. What's an easier way to do this, and what's the best way to do this so people can benefit from it? And that's what I've done a lot. That's why it takes up a lot of my time. It's not just turn on a camera and filming. It's a matter of thinking it through, uh, test fitting the parts, making sure everything goes together like it's supposed to, make sure I'm not missing parts, because I've had that too. I'll be going, I'm like, oh, there's a part missing, which happens. I mean, it always happens. You'll get stuff shipped to you and parts go missing. So it's not right, but their customer service is usually pretty good at sending replacement parts, which has happened a lot for me. But yeah, that's the hardest part, is editing the videos, because I use more than one camera, so mixing and getting everything uh, in a timeline where you can see everything from one angle or another. With my hands get in the way, I got the other camera, and so
And,
it's a lot of work.
and like I said, I mean, it's really cool how detailed you get in some of these videos, and I think it would really help, like if you were building along with you, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Sometimes, because it's crazy how detailed some of these kits, like that Jeep.
yeah.
I mean, it's not very big,
No,
by,
parts
but
are
there's
tight.
a lot of detail in that thing.
Yeah, it's fun too. That's been a little bit of a challenge because the parts are so small. Even though it's 1/8 scale, still, all the parts on that engine are tiny, the spark plugs and all that too. But
Because I know, yeah, the Jeep's pretty small, but like the Ghostbuster car that like you and I think Adam Savage is doing the same thing on Tested. That thing's like over 2 feet long,
it's
right?
huge. It's the biggest car. Yeah, it's definitely a challenge to film it. Adam Savage doesn't do close-ups. He kind of puts it in front of himself and builds and talks about what he's doing, but he doesn't show you any close-ups. My goal is to show you close-ups, so that's
Yeah.
more of a challenge for me, because when you're taking a car that's this long,
Yeah.
and you have to flip it over and put the exhaust on it and all that, it's a big challenge.
And then the bumper's probably what, that long?
Yeah, well,
Right.
this, I got a really small space to work in here where I'm at right now, and it's under the bed. That car is under the bed.
No, that's cool. That's really cool. No, I mean, and the now, are the parts coming painted, or are you painting them?
Yeah, they come pre-painted. They come, and sometimes they come. Some of the parts come assembled a little bit, like the wheels for the tires. Sometimes they're already assembled, like the spoke wheels. But all the parts come painted, which makes it a little bit of a challenge too, because a lot of people, if you follow the groups, a lot of these Eagle Moss groups out there, and I have a few, a lot of people want to do the weathering. So, if you know anything about weathering techniques for your own cars, your own model cars, they pretty much apply those same principles to these. because they're like, well, Ghostbusters car, it's not going to be pristine clean underneath. It's going to have some weather. It's going to have some oil
Yeah.
drops and mud and scrapes and all that. And people do that with their cars. I'm not necessarily doing it with mine because I'm building them stock out of the box. So I haven't had to do any painting whatsoever for these. Now, the Millennium Falcon by Augustini Model Space, that one requires painting. It comes.
Okay.
They say it comes pre-painted, but no, you have to paint it to make it look.
It probably just comes in that standard like light gray, right?
Yeah.
And you got to add all the weathering and stuff to
Yeah,
it.
and sometimes the colors don't match.
Oh.
So you'll get a part now, and then 10 months down the road, you get another part, and they go side by side, and then the colors aren't the same. And you know it's not that way on the studio model. So you end up having to paint it.
So do you see the question on the screen?
Yes.
How long does it take to build the average subscription kit?
If you have it sent to you monthly, it takes 2 years. But you have the option where you can buy the entire kit.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
So you can go there. If you have the cash on hand, you can buy the entire kit. It's expensive, but once you get the entire kit, it just takes as long as you want to spend on it. I like the monthly thing because it's affordable. I mean, I spend more for soda, beer, eating out, just going out and eating out. Instead of going through the trouble of cooking food in the house here for myself, I'll go out and eat out. Well, you spend more eating out than you do paying for these things.
Yeah.
So to me, it's worth it. Just if there's something you really want to build, subscribe to it and get it. Get a box of parts every month, and that keeps you busy for a good weekend.
So is it easier to just build it as it's coming in, or kind of just wait and get all the parts and then try to build it?
Good question. That depends. Because before I would say, no, it's easy to build as they all come in, just do it that way. But what I discovered with the Aston Martin DB5 is the very last issue, they give you a screw chart. They give you a chart with all the screws and what they look like and what they're numbered. Well, while you were getting all the parts, the screws were never numbered. So you need that magazine, the very last magazine, to help you along with that. But even then, it's nice to have all the parts in front of you, because then you can assemble as you go and not have to take something apart later on and put it back together again. So it just depends. So far, it's worked out fine for the Nissan GTR that I'm building. That one's been a little bit of a challenge also, because the frame is so large and all the metal screws that go into it. That one was a toughie. And I'm almost done with that one also. So there's that one is going to be done here within a month or so, less than a month. I mean, I should have it done before the end of October. And then the DB5, that's going to be done this week. I should finish it up. The next one that I'm working on, that's been a lot of fun, is the Delorean, the Back to the Future DeLorean. That's a lot of fun, but once again, can be a challenge. I've seen guys build that car online from a couple years ago, and they struggled with getting the screws in, because it's hard getting the screws into the metal parts because they're not pre-threaded. You have to actually create your own threads when you're screwing the screws in. And I've seen guys struggle with that. I'm like, well, why not lubricate them? So in the beginning, I was using chapstick. In the middle of COVID, I could not find Vaseline anywhere. But I had some chapstick. I'm like, well, chapstick can be a good lubrication. So I used chapsticks for my screws to lubricate them. And then eventually I got some Vaseline, and I use Vaseline. That's probably the safest to use. Some people are using machine oil, and that's fine and dandy, but machine oil can be very messy.
And mess up the paint.
Yeah. And it can mess up the paint. So I wouldn't recommend machine oil too because it's not good for your skin. You should wear gloves when you handle any kind of oils, machine oil especially. But with Vaseline, you can get it on your hands; it won't hurt you, and it's a good lubrication. So
No, I mean that's a good tip. Now, my question with the DeLorean is, does it all light up?
most of it does.
Most
That,
of it does.
yeah, um, I haven't seen mine lit up yet because I haven't gotten to that point yet. But there's some aftermarket out there that people complain about some of the stuff doesn't light up real well, and they go ahead and install their own modifications. There's some aftermarket modifications you can put on that.
Because from what I have seen, it looks like, like the dash where it says October whatever 1955 or whatever.
Yeah,
All that lights up. The flux capacitor lights up.
yeah,
But then you get onto the outside of the car, and it doesn't seem like the electrical components that run down the side. They don't seem like that lights up very well.
yeah. That's I would have to see it for myself and see if I can do anything to make that any better with what you have instead of having to go out there and spend the extra money. So that's always a goal of me when building these is not to put any modifications on it, something that's going to cost a lot of money for people.
So Mopar says try red rubber grease used for brake systems. It's not petroleum based. I don't know, and
I know. I'm familiar with the grease because I've done a lot of brake jobs on my vehicles, but I'm not so sure if I'd want to use that because it still would have like a staining effect. Some of these cars have light colored paint to them, on the bodies, like especially like the Ghostbusters car. If you get some of that red petroleum, it could probably stain it. But I never really thought about it much to use that because to me, just easy to have a little bottle of Vaseline and use that. It's right there on my desk, and it's cheap.
I mean, and that's the cool thing about this hobby. Everybody has their own little, workaround for everything, and not one thing is better than the other. That's
right. If you have it, if that's all you have, and you don't want to go out and buy the Vaseline, then why not give it a try? Just be careful with it, knowing that it might stain it. Might stain something. Just be very careful with it. That's all.
No, yeah, absolutely. Fat, yeah, for sure. So let's talk about normal modeling right now, because I know we covered some of the Eagle Moss stuff. Are you an airbrush guy or spray can?
Airbrush. Now I'm an airbrush. Well, it depends. I have used the spray cans for my car builds, and the thing about that though is because I don't like the what do they call that? The
overspray?
No, where it leaves bumps on the paint.
Orange peel.
The orange peel. So the orange peel kind of bothers me. I mean, I've used some spray bomb paint and it looks really nice to the eye, but once you put it in the light, you see the orange peel. So for that takes a lot of work, a lot of sanding, but that's actually kind of fun. But once again, that's a technique that's kind of hard for a lot of people to do because if you sand too much, you take the paint off. So that's just one of the things about cars. If you're not painting a car that's all a rust bucket and you're painting a pristine, paint job, you don't want the orange peel. So
that is very true. For me, when it comes to spray cans, I always seem like, I'll just do another pass with this, and it's like, why did I even do that? Yeah. And then with the airbrush.
Yeah, I've run across that with the Tamiya paints because they're usually, you think they're a better quality paint and they're clearer also. But sometimes I'll paint the color down and I don't know if it has to do with I didn't wait long enough for it to gas out before I went with the next coat, because when you go to the next coat, all of a sudden then it starts peeling. The paint starts, folding up or peeling on itself. I'm like, what? It's the same paint. So I think you got to do it while it's still kind of wet and put the next coat on. But if you let it dry and it's dry but it's still gassing out, it just reacts differently. So
Orange peel just makes you a better polisher. That's true.
yeah.
That's very, very true, Omar. That's very, very true. So when you're working on, what's some of your favorite tools and stuff that you like to use? Because you're a big tool guy, right?
Not as big as some of the guys out there in the community.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a good collection of tools. I've seen some of them.
Yeah. Well, I think a good airbrush. If you want to get into the airbrushing realm, a good airbrush is important. I think I have about 18 of them.
Oh wow!
I just brought 3 of them with me here, but you definitely need to have, for the Eagle Moss kits, you need to invest in some really good screwdrivers for that, because it's gonna chew up the cheap ones pretty fast. You're gonna go through a lot of screwdrivers if you don't buy the good ones. I think good X-Acto blades, good tweezers are important. Your standard basic modeling tools. Invest into the good ones, and you can go after the cheap ones a little bit later if you want. But I think the good ones will last. Good name brands.
Yeah, and like high altitude hobbies is a great place to go.
Yes.
Brett knows a lot about the modeling tool side of it.
Yeah, and he's a good resource for those tools. So I need
Yeah,
to hit him up more for stuff.
yeah. Between you, Gil, and Tommy, I need to spend like $300.
Oh yeah, I have saved a lot of money because I haven't been on the Hangouts lately. So
Yeah,
usually turns into a shopping spree every time we do a hangout. Makes it fun.
The only thing that saves me right now is Tommy's been working on his backyard, so he hasn't had any money to spend, extra money to spend. So it's been kind of nice.
Okay.
Because he's been them display tools. They look really, really nice, and there's a couple of them that I really, really want. But
oh yeah, you get to a point though, you run out of space. That's what holds me back from buying a lot of those display tools, because they're all very nice and they look good, very functional, but I don't have the room for them.
So you're basically an airbrush guy. What's the paint you like to use?
Right now the acrylics, they don't smell real bad. They're just easier to use. I haven't done any airbrushing here on the East Coast yet with humidity, and we're starting to lose the humidity now because it's getting to be the fall. And but yeah, definitely easier than working with enamels. Enamels are just harder. The lacquers and enamels are just harder to clean and to control. I definitely like the acrylics.
So what type of acrylics? Are you doing the craft paint, or are you doing like the Createx Wicked stuff, or Tamiya?
Yeah. The Tamiya primarily. I like the Tamiya, and of course all the Vallejo and some of the other the MIG and the Ammo brands of paints. So
how do you like the MIG stuff that you've used?
I like it.
Because you haven't used some of the newer stuff, right? You've just got the older.
Yeah, I haven't really used any of the newer stuff. Just whatever. I mean, I'm starting to buy some of the newer stuff. I haven't used it yet, but I haven't heard anything bad on that front. So
No, because I mean, it seems like they have even their tool set from MiG is like decent.
Yeah.
It's a little pricey, but you
Yeah,
know,
that's what I was gonna say. They're pricey, you know. When you go to purchase this stuff, I usually look for sales, either on Amazon or eBay, or even some of the online hobby shops. But my thing is, I brought the paints with me, and I intend to build and all that on this channel. I just haven't had time.
and you know what? It's really it's very interesting when your next video comes out because you always seem to learn something about each kit, especially some of the older ones that you used to do. Like you didn't know that was in there,
Right.
and that's
Right.
the cool part about. I mean, right now you've been doing a lot of the Eagle Moss stuff, but you've done the Knight Rider kit. You've done a couple jets, and like
Yeah.
you do a bunch of the figure busts and stuff. Video I saw earlier is you've been switching out the Badger's high roll triggers for the airbrushes. I saw that
Yeah.
video today.
Okay.
How do
Yeah.
you like those?
Yeah. All my airbrushes have that high roller trigger. I like to have the control there. It just seems like you have a little more control with that longer swing, that longer throw for the airbrush. This is a kit here I've been wanting to review. I know there's reviews out there, but this is that Zavezda C130 kit that they came out with. And I'm a C130 guy. I worked on them for 20 years in the Air Force, so I wanted to tell everybody how accurate this kit was. It's the most accurate, but not. It does have some problems. So my intention is to do a really good review of this. Having the time to do it is another deal. So
No, I mean, and that's the cool part. Like when you're going through some of those kits, because you tear into those kits and you actually figure
yeah,
out where the problems are going to be. It's really,
especially the C130 stuff, because I should know enough about them. I worked on it for 20 years, so I know them from the inside out. This is another kit I wanted to do a review of, which is a fantastic kit too. So this was probably one of the better kits of the C130 that was out there. Then the Zavezda came out, and of course this does have its own problems too, but it has a lot of extra antennas and stuff on it that you would be looking for on an MC130 Combat Talon C130. So look for a review of that too. I'm going to tear it apart.
So is that those are the cargo planes, right?
Yeah.
I don't know much of the military stuff, so but that's the cargo.
Hercules was primarily a cargo airlift aircraft, but they gave them a lot of special operations roles, and this is one of them. So
Okay.
you can see the whiskers on the front of this one. They were designed to retrieve people from the ground with a balloon. They float the balloon up there, and they would bring them in via a balloon and a cable mechanism. If you ever seen the Green Berets, they show a little bit of that with this airplane.
Oh, the movie with John Wayne?
Yes.
That's the one you're talking about? Yeah. That's
so they stopped doing that, but they were doing it probably up until 1998 or 99, maybe a little bit after that. But they were it's pretty cool. This is a good model though, because it gives you a lot of little extras in it. So, and it's a good one for me to talk about the antennas that these aircraft carry. They not just your standard antennas. So
what's special with the antennas on that?
Well, they have a lot of
and we're talking about those cables that run from the wings to the back tail, right? It's like a little bitty cable, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, that's just one of the antennas. Those were the HF antennas, high frequency antennas. But no, there's a bunch of them on the belly, right down here, and what they were used for. And there's a bunch on top that you can't see in the photo. But
Oh, okay.
this kit gives you all of that. I mean, it's.
Oh,
I worked on these at Kirtland, so.
so is Italeri a really good modeling company for some of that stuff? Because I've got that helicopter that has the two wings. I can't think of the name at the moment, but the two blades that, I mean, it basically can go straight up.
Oh yeah, the Osprey.
Osprey, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have that kit.
Italeri was the first company to come out with an Osprey kit, and now there's a couple other companies that make them. But yeah, Italeri is a good one for the C130 kit, and this one's kind of hard to find. The Zavezda, I think they talked about doing a J model. This is the H, and they're going to do the J, which is the newer C130 out there. But I thought they would have fixed some stuff with the tooling on this, but they didn't. There's some issues with the tooling on this that are very similar to the Italeri kit. So it's kind of like, where'd they get that idea from? So everybody thinks it's the real deal, and it is in some instances, but it's still the same old problems that these C130 all these C130 kits have. There's some inaccuracies on the wings. So, but yeah, that's the type of thing I want to do with those. I need to find the time to do it. Brett's been on me a little bit about that because he sold me that C130 kit, and he's like, "Hey, I thought we could do a review on it." Well, I had to move for my job, so that kind of held that up.
Well, I mean, you'll get it at some point. I mean,
yeah. Yep, I will. And of course, they keep coming out with really cool kits. You know, I'm a big sci-fi guy, so.
Oh no! What'd you get? What'd you get?
The clear version of the Voyager kit.
Oh, that's the newer one, right? That's
Yeah.
the one they just released, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got like 3 of those Voyager kits from like the Monogram or whatever, whoever did them before.
Yep.
And yeah. No, that's supposed to be a really nice kit. I actually want to get the really big Defiant that they just came out with.
Oh, okay.
But then, you know, they're supposed to come out with a bigger Deep Space Nine, the station, too. That's supposed to be to scale with that Defiant.
Oh, really?
At least, you know, that's what they say.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
Yep, I'll probably be getting it. If it comes out, I'll probably get it because I have quite a collection of sci-fi kits.
Because I've done the LED light up Deep Space Nine station, and it wasn't too bad. It's just, you know, a little out of my curve when I did it, but I got it all together. That's all that matters.
Let me grab a piece of the Eagle Moss kit here.
Oh, here we go. Oh, that's the jack, or that's the
DB5. So
yes. Oh my gosh,
it weighs
look
a
how big
ton.
that is.
Okay. So this is just the back end of the car with the bulletproof rear window.
Oh, okay.
And that actually works. It works very nice, actually. And of course, the license plate, you know, can move.
Oh, is it the one that flips around?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
nice.
Around. And the tail lights go down too. I got them taped up right now. I pretty much tape everything while I'm building so it doesn't move around on me. Or the trunk opens also. But this should be done here this week. So it's lots to build though. And the front end, I got the front end over there too. And the
No.
chassis. This was weird too because you built the chassis last.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all the other kits you build the chassis first and then build on top of it. This one you build the chassis last. So I have the chassis finally. Here's the chassis.
Oh, wow. Look at the inside of that car. That's actually really detailed.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Oh, look at that motor. That is crazy.
Yeah. So the chassis came like very late in the build. And you just assembled everything onto the chassis. All the wiring.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna weigh a ton.
Even when they're all done, they look so cool. And you can tell a lot of work went into making those, so they're right.
Yeah. To me, it's just people say they're expensive, and yeah, they are, but you get what you pay for with this, and it's definitely a lot of fun.
And if you think about it, like based on the hobby, right? If you like a 1/8 kit is like almost $100 to buy, because it's bigger, right? I mean, it's just economics.
Yeah. So these kits, they cost a lot more than $100, but if you're only paying per month, it's a small fraction to pay. It adds up, and that's what people look at. Well, after 2 years, I've spent this much on it, but you've got pretty much a museum piece when it's done, and they're very impressive to see in person. So
I'd actually like to see, what is it, the next generation one that they have, right? I think they have, one of the companies has it, and I've seen pictures of it. I haven't been able to see it up close, but it looks really, really cool. That Eleanor kit they're going to start releasing next, that's really, really cool too.
Yeah, I've been working on the Eleanor kit. I have it. I only posted one video of it, but it's a lot of fun. I would say because that's also Eagle Moss that's coming out with the Eleanor, and I like it. I like it so far.
No, yeah, I mean, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, because I'm building a Mustang already. I'm building the Mustang from Agora, and that's the GT500 Super Snake. And it's pretty simple, more simpler to build than these Eagle Moss ones. It seems like they made it easier for people to build. So if you wanted to start off with one, I would recommend the Agora initially. But these kits, they can be, if you've never built one before, you have to kind of figure out which one you want to start off with first. And I wouldn't say the DB5 would be the one to start off with first because it's a little more complicated than the others. So, if you wanted to try the Ghostbusters Ecto 1, go for it. There's enough videos out there on YouTube of people showing you how to build it that could help you along with that. But it's also the biggest one too, so definitely would be a challenge there because it's so big. But they're fun. They're a blast. They can be a little bit of a challenge every now and again too.
No, I mean and it's really, really cool how well they go together. It's really, really a blast to watch some of these kits go together.
Yeah. Let me get a couple other out. All the ones I'm in the process of working on. course, here's the Jeep engine.
Cool. That is so cool.
So that's,
and that really looks like the military Jeep.
yeah.
That looks just like it. So looks just like it.
And here's the dash for the Ghostbusters. Been working on that.
Oh, wow. Now, see, I think the grill for that Ghostbusters car is so cool because it's like that big, and then it has all the lights and stuff that go into it.
Yep. And then here's the Mustang. The GT500.
Look at that. That's crazy detail.
Yeah, the interior.
Is that a fire extinguisher? Oh, that is a fire extinguisher. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, uh-oh. Gil found us.
So that's the GT500. And now I'll bring out the Nissan GTR.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Done. Oh, I can barely lift it.
Whoa, what?
It's huge.
Okay, so how complicated was that engine compartment? Because that just looks
It's
crowded.
pretty complicated.
That really looks nice.
It's just so hard to handle.
Oh yeah.
The body's just flipped over on it. The body really isn't supposed to be on it right now, but that's how I'm storing it. But it's huge.
Look at that exhaust. That's just next level right there.
Yeah, it's huge. Ooh, that's a workout.
Yeah. Now you got to sit down.
And then here's the Jeep chassis.
Now, see, I would think the Jeep would be a good one to start with.
Yeah.
The Jeep doesn't look as complicated as some of the other ones.
Right, and the parts are smaller. The one of the biggest complaints though is the instructions for it are kind of vague. So you definitely want to try to follow somebody on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. No, all that stuff looks. Yeah, that's crazy. So, any idea what's gonna after the Eleanor one? Do you know what's gonna be the next thing they come out with?
Yeah, I'm supposed to be doing a Jaguar for them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're coming out with the XJ9 or something like that.
That's like their sports car looking thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a cool kit.
Yeah.
I mean, 1/8 scale though. I mean, that's a lot of.
Yeah. No. I'm hoping to get the GTR done and the DB5 done before the end of the month.
No, how do you keep track of all those builds at once?
I used to have a schedule that I kept, and I would do at least one car a day, one section of it a day. But it's been hard to keep up with that, so now I've been kind of concentrating on getting 2 of the cars done, and then I can start working on the others.
Okay, so that's not what I meant. I meant like, how do you keep the Jeep, the Ecto 1, and keep all the parts going to each car as
Okay.
you're going along. That's what I
Yeah.
meant.
So I keep most of the stuff in plastic bins.
Okay.
So, and that's how I had to transport them here too from Arizona here to West Virginia. So you can imagine I had like 8 big plastic bins of parts, and the boxes. I keep them in the boxes that they come in too. I'll just take a Sharpie and write down what it is, what issues they are, and I got them all out in the garage in storage right now. So I just bring in what I'm building at a time. So I keep like these cars are all up on a shelf out of the way, and then whatever I'm building, I'll throw out here on the bed, and then I'll bring the boxes in that I need that I'm going to build that day, and then start working on my bench. So
No, that's really, really cool, dude. And we've hit over that hour mark. So did you have any questions for me?
for you,
For me.
yes. Well, I think we talked a little bit about it before the show started, but I was just checking out your 3D printing stuff and your car builds, and what's the next best thing for you? What do you really enjoy doing right now in the hobby?
Wow. So I don't know if you've seen the Warlord Titan I've been working on, right?
I think I have, yes.
So that I've really been enjoying that. The bigger robot thing that I've been
Yeah.
building.
Yep.
I've really enjoyed that. I don't know if like I have the Warhound for that too. It's the little bit smaller version from Warhammer that has like that wolf face. It's a little bit more. It's not quite as detailed as the one I'm working on, but it seems like I'm getting into those robot things. And I've been enjoying printing out some of these bigger figures like the Batman. I'm doing Flash right now. I'm trying to figure out how to get, one of the parts to print out right.
All
so
right.
I can finish Flash, but I've been enjoying those. I can't really tell you from week to week what because it's always changing.
That's good.
I mean, I got into the figures because, it really did help me paint interiors because you got to have that brush control and, a lot of the techniques can help just make the inside of the car look better.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things. I mean, I'm still going to be 3D printing. I need to get back to the resin stuff, but I want to buy a couple things first.
That's cool. Yeah. And of course, you've been doing a lot of their 3D printing too, and I know you've had a lot of interest out there from companies and stuff when it comes to that, and I think that's fantastic. You're getting noticed, which is a good thing. As far as plastic kits, what's your interest now with plastic models?
So I've still had the same influence. As long as it's on a sprue, I will build it. I don't keep it just like I want to get into some of the military stuff, and then I like open one of those Tamiya tanks or something like that, and then I just reclose that box because it's just too many small little parts.
Right.
But like I enjoy the Gundams, cars, planes. This is on the bucket list, so I actually want to ride in a helicopter in real life. I really do. But I have probably about 10 helicopter kits that I want to go through. But I got to get better at doing windows, painting the inside and outside of the windows. I got to figure that out. I'm not good at it, but
Yeah, we can give you some pointers on during a hangout or something, kind of show you some things, or maybe I can do a video up of it. So,
but I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. Like right now I'm still waiting for Fallout Hobbies to send me stuff so I can finish the Warlord Titan because like everything went to a halt.
yeah.
And it's kind of how it's been. But no, I'm going to be doing I'm actually going to be doing these 2 kits coming up for the group builds that are coming up. There's the Chevy SSR.
Yep.
And then this is one of the, I think this is the CR5 that I got off of Paul's channel, International Scale Modeler.
Okay. Yeah, it's the Revel Germany kit.
Yeah, this is one of those I won in one of their auctions. So I'm gonna do that up for the COVID build or group build that's been going around.
That's cool. Very nice.
So yeah, I've just, summertime it's kind of hard to do stuff with the hobby because it's really like I have an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Or once wintertime hits, I can be out here in the bench pretty much at least more than once a week.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, summertime, summertime it's a little bit harder, but I always seem to get things done out here in the wintertime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I just got to work on my airbrush skills. Oh, have you seen the pig?
I may have seen it.
Here, this is one of those that I've been working on lately. Oh, we've been kind of doing Christmas stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's just a plaster. It's just a plaster. I just put the blue in the eyes.
Yeah, that's nice. That's
Painted
good.
the
Airbrush. You do airbrush with that?
Oh yeah. My son did the first basic, turned it red. And then I just layered 2 different colors of pink on top of it. So it looks like it should be a real pig.
Yeah, it looks very good.
The ears, I don't know how I nailed that the first time, but I got the ears right.
Yeah.
It's like
that's very good.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good,
Yeah.
Oh, okay, don't fall. That thing's really, really fragile, so I gotta stop picking it up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep, that's it. That's the thing when you pick up stuff, you run the risk of dropping it.
Yeah.
That's what I was worried about with this Nissan. The sucker's so heavy.
See, and then I have that Star Wars stash that I bought like a month and a half ago that I want to tear into too.
Yeah.
And then when I found the A-Team van, there's all kinds of stuff that, I want to get done, but it's just now I got to find the time.
Yep, I hear you. I'm the same way. I brought a bunch of Legos with me to build and haven't built them yet. I like building Legos. I never got to build them as a kid, but now I've been buying them, and they're just kind of relaxing for me to build. I don't have to do much thinking to build them. So,
yeah. See, and the cool part about Legos now is there's they've got some really halfway decent kit. I mean, they're $100, but it's not bad. It's really, it's not bad. And that's why I like
the price range for little kids, but for the adults.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's even that one modeling group. I'll have to send you a link to it after this, but it's Colin's. He's one of the interviews. It's Colin. I think it's Fiesta Model Works.
Okay.
And they do, figures, Warhammer, Lego. I mean, it's random, all over the place. And they're out of the UK.
All right. That's cool. Yeah. That's pretty much all I have.
Well, thank you for coming on. I know we kind of had to make this work kind of with your work schedule and everything, but
yeah, you hit me at the right time. So,
but thank you for coming on. I'm going to do my out and I will talk to you in a couple minutes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, here we go. All right, everybody. So that was Steve from SKMR. And, you know, we learned quite a bit about the Eagle Moss stuff. And you know what? We learned quite a bit. He even showed a couple of the kits. We hopefully learned quite a bit as long as I did, or as much as I did, because and off the top of my head, I do not remember who's on next week. I want to say it's Terry, but it's Yeji. Yeji from Models Workshop. She's one of the admins, figure painter that does really cool stuff. So we will see you guys next week. See you later.